All right, guys, hope you're sitting down for this one because this is epic levels of stupidity. Obviously, you saw the opening clip, and this is the Tesla jump over in Los Angeles. Now, initially, I watched the video. I'm like, that seems like roads in San Francisco, when in fact, this is a road outside of Los Angeles where this guy launched his rented Tesla with obviously predictable results, and allegedly nobody was injured seriously to our knowledge. But that is the current story. Now, if you want to see all this, go. Alex Choi did a very long and well done video explaining sort of his side of what happened and documenting the jump and all the stupidity. So if you want to see that, go check out Alex's video. I'll put a link below in the description. I'm going to hit this from a different angle. And obviously, it's very stupid. People do things for the TikTok and the gram all the time. And it's very dumb. Here's the ramifications from this that nobody seems to think about when they're looking for their 3 seconds of fame, which they're not even going to really capitalize on. Some news agency is going to capitalize on it. Some YouTuber is going to capitalize on it. Another YouTuber is going to capitalize on it. And what we're doing is we're just documenting how stupid it is. And I've got a vault. Don't get me wrong. Like, I've got a vault of stuff that's never going to see the light of day because I've been there and I'm like, you know what? That's too stupid. I'm not even going to share that with people because that's something I don't want to encourage other people to go out and try it. It's too dumb, it's too reckless, and it just I don't see fit to put that out there and put my name on it as something that I'm either condoning. And even if I'm saying, don't do this, like Alex did, it's really almost disingenuous to be like, well, you were there. Like, for example, Alex made this video saying, don't do this. This is stupid. Somebody could have gotten killed, blah, 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 blah. But it was an event that he hosted and then pretended like he didn't know what was going to happen when everybody's standing at the top of the screen and all videotaping it and has multiple angles. So you can't really plead ignorance on this. And that's unfortunately what's going to happen when this goes legal. Now, this is a rented car, and people love to do stuff to rented cars, right? It's like, oh, it's a rental, I got the insurance. That's why I don't sell insurance. Everything goes back to individuals' insurance. The problem is when you do something, there's an exclusion. Like when you buy insurance from like Hertz, this car happened to be rented from Enterprise. When you buy the insurance, there's something called there's an exclusion for intentional acts. So if you do something that's an intentional act, now there's a pretty long list of stuff that they don't cover. This, with all the evidence out there, it's impossible not to say this wasn't an intentional act. The guy didn't like not realize that the top of the street was too sloped and he didn't see over the thing and launched the car. This was clearly set up. It was done as an intentional act. And this guy's probably not going to have any insurance coverage from any of his policies, from his personal policy. If he took out the collision damage waiver, which he probably did because he decided to Evel Knievel the thing, I guarantee you, especially when Enterprise is well aware of this, that there's not going to be any coverage. So now where does that leave him? Well, this guy, and the guy claiming to be driving, everyone's like, when the cop said, we're going to give money, for anyone who tells us who's driving, they got like 50 tips right out of the bat, and 40 out of the 50 were the one guy. He goes by like Dirty Dom, and he appears to be the guy because he'll even put up on his TikTok F the police video. I guess the police didn't like my stunt. What up? Like, yeah. So that guy's probably got nothing to lose, right? YOLO lifestyle, who cares? Nothing to lose. Rented the car, crashed the car, come after me. I got nothing to come after. The problem is somebody does. And to everybody, because now if you're doing that and you're doing this where you're risking people's lives, this one stupid decision, there were 4 people in the car and a cat. And there was a freaking cat in the car. To do this, everybody's now going to sue somebody, right? And I don't want to, people go for pockets, right? They go for insurance. If insurance says, sorry, no coverage, deadbeat doesn't have coverage, where are they going to go? Next best thing. Who's the event organizer? That's going to come back to Alex. Now, Alex has got a video out there saying, I didn't know what was going on, but how is he going to explain that he hosted the event? He didn't know who the guy was, but he hosted the event. He didn't know what the guy was doing, but he happened to be videotaping every single thing the guy did, where when you set the stage right there, you know exactly what the guy's doing. You're standing on a steep hill and you're going to launch over the hill. So to claim that you didn't think he was going to go so fast, there is no plausible deniability in that, like, well, we just thought he was going to get a little air. Like, there's no upside to this. Everything about it is illegal. And it's probably going to unfortunately come back to Alex, which probably won't hit his commercial insurance if he even has a policy, because they wouldn't cover something like that. It's such a gray area with like the YouTube and the general liability policy as to what they would cover and what they weren't, because there's no permits. There's no, like, anything you're doing was like a run and gun, like Jackass style on the street. But the thing about Jackass and like stuff that I do, you've got structure there. There's film permits there. We're doing it off road. Like when we do like these $500 car challenges, yeah, if we drive down the road and the door falls off or something like that, silly, right? But it's not something that's like like the downside to these stunts is if it goes wrong, somebody gets injured. You watch Jackass, there's a team of EMTs right behind the camera. There's fire suppression. There's all sorts of stuff that if something goes sideways, it's when you look at a stunt, even like a Travis Pastrana or any of these guys, when they do a stunt, there's physics involved. People are like, okay, well, if you go over at 43 at this angle, you go at 43 miles an hour exactly, and you're going to come down, you're going to land 12 feet. Sometimes people get the math wrong. Oh, we did it in kilometers, not miles an hour, and it goes sideways. But there's a team of safety people there. And I've seen all sorts of stunts, stuff like that, go wrong. And that's where it gets sideways. Now, who's to blame? Who's paying for it? Now, you got to feel bad for the guy who got his car hit on the side of the road, the guy whose garbage cans got wiped out. And you got to be happy that nobody was hurt. If that car went over and flopped down on its roof, you probably have a bunch of dead people or crippled people. And that's all for the Instagram. Oh, all for that TikTok video of me launching a car. Great. Video's viral all over the place because it's so dumb that you shouldn't do that. And everyone's like, nobody looks at that and be like, I mean, some people may. I could stick the landing. Good for you. You're an idiot if you try it. But there's no upside to that. There's no like internet trophy for sticking the landing, right? Like there's no benefit to it. And there's no insurance coverage, so that guy's going to probably deadbeat out of this whole thing. And maybe he'll end up in jail. Like the cops want to make an example out of him, obviously, because it's all over the place. When something gets big, every news agency is going to be like, what happened? He's going to get a bunch of charges, probably like reckless endangerment, leaving the scene of an accident, BS. There's going to go to court. He's going to get a lawyer, and he's probably going to get probation, get his license suspended for a year. Let me just fast forward through all of it. The civil aspect of it, like if anyone in that car is now hurt, which, you know what, everybody's your friend, right? We're all friends when we're having a great time. Then somebody gets hurt, and then next thing you know, the lawsuit starts dropping. And your insurance isn't covering it, so they're going to go after you. You're not covering it because you're a deadbeat and you have no money. And I'm just assuming this guy's a deadbeat with no money. But and the only thing I'm saying that makes me think that is his TikTok with the F the police. He could be a spoiled rich kid. I don't know. And his dad could be very pissed that it's all about to fall down on him. But somebody's going to be writing a check here for the car that's damaged. Now, the guy started a GoFundMe for his car. I don't know why. His insurance will cover it. If like somebody hit and run his car, his insurance will cover the damage on it. One thing to point out, when you're in a hilly environment, and a lot of people look like, oh, why does everyone have their tire pointed in? That was a good thing. You point your tires in when you're on a slope so that if your car lets loose and gravity takes over, it steers into the curb and it sort of like wedges itself and locks itself into place. It's very calculated so that your car doesn't go sailing down the hill and takes out a bunch of people walking across the street or whatever. This situation here where the car came to rest and hit it, it was good because it pushed it into the curb and sort of wedged both cars in one place. I don't know if the guy was conscious when he landed or what happened. All the airbags in the car deployed. The Tesla's destroyed. And it's just something you shouldn't try. So like, if we're going to learn lessons here, unfortunately, you can't, if you're hosting an event, which Alex was doing, you can't go host an event and then when somebody does something reckless, like if I've ever done anything in the past and they're like, we're going to go do something stupid, I'm like, I'm out. This is not part of my event. But like to be the event organizer and be there videotaping and filming and walking through what's happening and then plead ignorance that you didn't know was going to happen isn't really going to fly in court, unfortunately. So I hope nothing happens from this. I hope the insurance from this guy covers it. because although there's the intentional act exclusion in virtually every insurance policy, they could claim some sort of stupidity. Maybe the insurance company doesn't look into it. They just write the check to Enterprise, and that sort of goes away. And hopefully nobody was actually injured in the car. But there's a good chance that, like, when you slam down like that, somebody's going to have like a neck injury, or somebody's got an ambulance chaser going being like, hey, do this. But now you have to explain why you ran away from the scene of an accident. It gets all messy. It's a hot soup sandwich over there. And I am using this as a reason to tell people not to try this, right? There's no benefit to it. Like even there was a guy in New York the other day doing donuts in the street, right? Donuts in the street, very cool. He had his buddies out there filming. The one guy went to go get a better angle on it, tripped, fell, got driven over by the guy doing the donuts because you can't stop the car when you're swinging around.
Police say the victim suffered a fractured skull, brain injury, and severe trauma to his body. He was rushed to Bellevue Hospital and remains in critical condition. The driver, though, is on the loose. Police say he left the scene heading east on Van Dam Street. He's described as a dark-skinned man driving a red Infiniti sedan, won the video, with a driver's side decal reading Tyler Speck in big gold letters.
Guy's life is forever changed from just trying to videotape a guy doing donuts in the street. There's a reason that YouTubers exist, right? We do stuff that makes it seem so cool that, like, oh, how cool, this is awesome. Like, I wouldn't do that, that's dangerous. There are calculated risks. And stuff like this where, like, go do a donut in the parking lot, great. Do a donut when nobody's around. Doing a donut where somebody's standing 3 inches away from your bumper filming and everything like that, and there's no safety equipment, there's nobody around, there's nobody to help out if something goes sideways, you gotta be aware. The likelihood of something happening when you're jumping over, it's probably a 70% chance that something is going to go horribly wrong, right? 30% chance you stick it and you just look like a idiot with a smashed up, because when the car comes down, you're gonna destroy the car. I don't care what car it is. It's not a rally car, it's a factory rental car. So trying to play that one off, there's no upside to that. My advice, don't do it. The rental company, the way this is all gonna work out, and I can't predict it. I can tell you what I think is going to happen, but I have no idea. The rental company that sold them insurance isn't going to cover it. The only thing you can do at that point in time is get rid of the car and say it was, like, you're committing insurance fraud. You're saying the car was stolen or crashed or somebody stole it. That's the only possible backdoor into this insurance, is if the guy who wasn't driving the car, or the guy who rented the car wasn't driving the car. That's the only possible thing where some insurance may step in, because it's an unauthorized driver, and the guy who rented the car, if he bought a collision damage waiver, won't cover it because they exclude non-covered drivers, but his personal insurance may cover it because the guy who was driving didn't have permission to use the vehicle, or maybe did. I don't know. I wasn't there. I wouldn't be there. Trust me, if you see something stupid going down, the answer is not to, like, get in the middle of it and videotape, especially if you're hosting. You got to walk away. If you just want to watch something stupid happen and you're just a bystander on the street, yeah, there's nothing that says you got to be the voice of reason and tell people not to do it. So you go ahead and film, but if you're an event organizer, you can't really escape the liability if something happens at your event that you're hosting and then you're documenting it and saying, I didn't know that was going to happen. Rob Ferretti, thank you for watching the smash heard around the world out of LA, which not the Pete Davidson, Kim Kardashian thing, but the jumping Tesla is the news of the day in the auto world. Made all the major news channels, and it's making its way around the internet. So I wanted to address it and show you what's going on from the rental car standpoint, which doesn't look good for anyone involved. Rob Ferretti, thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.